What's up everyone, JaangoPops here, back with another video, my first video that I've actually recorded on my computer using my headset mic, so apologies if there's any background noise, but without further ado, let's get into the Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker Beta that happened this past week. So there were actually two betas, one that happened from July 19th to 21st I believe, and one that happened from July 26th to 28th. And I participated in both betas, so what I'm going to be doing is giving my experience on both of those. However, they were kind of similar, to be honest. Lots of people were saying that the game was a bit more fluid in the second beta, and that might have been the case, but I just know that in particular was one match for me that wasn't. But for the most part, I'll say the beta, both of them, just like felt pretty good in terms of the network. Like, it wasn't the closed beta that happened, I believe, either earlier this year, later last year, something like that, where it was like just terrible. Like, it was barely playable. Like, there was lag, people were like jumping all over the place, like skipping and stuff. The beta was like terrible, and they basically did this, I think, or partially did this to like make up for that. So yeah, my overall experience with the beta's network and like how the connection was and stuff like that, that was pretty good, honestly. Like I said, it was consistent throughout both of them. It stayed good. So I think the main thing I want to talk about is the gameplay, because that's where I was a little bit iffy. Shinobi Striker is a fast-paced game where there's just like so much shit happening on the screen. Like, people are throwing out jutsus like nothing. You're like jumping all across the screen. It's pretty insane. And the thing is, like, I feel like it's a good representation of Naruto in some ways, and then not a good representation in others. But the thing about the gameplay is it makes it like there's so much stuff happening at once that it's kind of hard to like focus on a fight. And that might just be me like being more comfortable in a 1v1 setting, but I can tell you that like whenever there was a 1v1 fight, it was much different than having to fight the whole team. One of the problems with so much happening on screen is this like almost involuntary reaction you have to just press RT or R2 or whatever console you're playing on, which makes you do the substitution jutsu. That's basically how you get out of like combos or a jutsu or whatever's being like thrown at you, so you can fall back and maybe go back towards your team, counter with your jutsu, whatever you want to do. The unfortunate thing is you only get this so much, and while that does make sense and it does balance the game, it also is like, okay, I'm going to substitution jutsu out of this move, and then I'm going to Rasengan on this guy so he can back away from me, right? But then the entire like other half of the team comes up behind you, uses like 3 jutsus, and then gets you in an enormous combo that you can't really get yourself out of. And this is especially a problem, as like you might have seen in the video earlier. There was one guy going against like literally the entire enemy team, and I couldn't really do anything because he had already substituted out, but he got stuck in again. The main problem I have with it is it's like you're singling someone out, even if it's not on purpose. Because I'll admit, there were like times in the beta that I did that, because it's like your entire team is going against this one person that already used their substitution and has to wait to use it again. So it's like you just get that person out of there easily, especially if you have a lot of people on your side. It almost makes it difficult to get out if you use it A, too early, or B, if someone has a certain move that's better than yours. The last real thing I have is the camera. The camera is, and lock on. The camera is weird. It's like, I don't know, I feel like the camera isn't that stable, especially when you're locking onto someone. By the way, by the last thing I meant, this is the last negative thing that I have, because this game is not bad, it's just that it has some things about it that are It feels kind of strange, because when you're locked onto someone, obviously it's in the name, or the word I guess, you have to stay like on their position, but at the same time I feel like if you're locked on in a certain way or a certain position, it like makes it difficult for you to actually target that person. It's it's hard to describe it because if you play the game and it happens to you, you'll know. But there's like a certain point where you lock onto someone and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go hit them, and then you do it, but it's like the camera doesn't follow with the lock on as well as it could. As for the camera, well, it's alright. It's a lot better, as I said earlier, than that closed beta, the first one that they did. But it still had its moments where it was like kind of a pain to use, because there was like certain points during fights where if you tried to adjust the camera, it kind of put you at a disadvantage, similar to the lock-on thing. And there was one time in particular that I couldn't even be mad at because I thought it was hilarious, that the camera just completely ruined me. Roll the clip. Yeah, so that full video is also on the channel. Shameless plug. Just to review what we've got so far. There's the camera that has its moments where it's eh. The gameplay is kind of just like all over the place. You're kind of just too much happening on screen for you to really focus in that much. And the substitution where you're like trying to get out of moves and how like you get staggered by certain combos. That's basically all the negatives that I have for this. Now, let's get into the positives, because this was not just a bad game. The game is very fun. I will put that out there wholeheartedly. The game is very fun. I think it would be more fun if you played it like with friends, but the game, because of how fast paced it is, because of how like the combos and stuff actually feel, the game's very fun. It's entertaining to play, and the matches are pretty quick, honestly. I don't actually show it in the video, but the customization is very, very nice. I'm a big customization guy. Like, I like the creative character stuff, even though I did kind of think that it's kind of like becoming a gimmick, but I'll get into that in another video maybe. I like the customization. There's a lot of stuff you can do with like body types, hair, facial paint, stuff like that. And in the open beta, you actually couldn't change your clothing, so that's another piece of like customization that's in the game, which I think is personally great. The game doesn't force you to use your created characters either. The created characters like it's kind of like something that you should do, but there's a lot of base like well-known Naruto characters that were in the beta, such as Naruto, obviously Kakashi, Sasuke, Sakura, and if I'm not mistaken, Yamato was in the open beta, this recent one. So yeah, there's a selection of characters in addition to your own created character. Though you may not see them all the time, you may see a lot more attack and range than defense and heal in certain cases. The roles are all diverse and all play an important role into a good team comp. Like they're all, if you don't have to have one of each, but if you have one of each, you have like a greater chance, I feel like, in certain modes of winning. So it's good that they like gave that diversity, because it leaves more room than just, okay, everyone go attack and then everybody just goes crazy. If you all go attack on, like, for example, base battle, some defense ninja's gonna like come onto your base, use the sand shield thing, and then just take it. So it's a lot like you have to know which role you want to play and which roles you want to have on your team in order to like make it work, I guess. And I think that's a pretty cool thing about it. This was just a small like thing unrelated to the gameplay, but I really liked the emotes and stuff that you could do in the lobby, because I just think it's cool to have that way for your community to interact without just playing the game. Also, some of them were just like really cool and really funny. They were very entertaining to see. I think the last big thing for me is the game modes. There's a lot of different game modes. There's the I'm gonna mess this up. There's flag battle, base battle, something else, and then the one where you fight like a big boss. I think it's called like barrier battle, something like that. I can't remember. There's 4 different modes in the game. They're all very unique and very fun. They have different ways that you can play, different objectives and stuff like that. So it's it keeps diversity, like it makes you want to come back to the game and play those different modes. I initially came into Shinobi Striker having a problem with the game from what was shown in the closed beta, which was kind of just on like the side of whoever organized it, because it wasn't like, it was not a good representation of the game, and also just the character creation I felt like was kind of a gimmick, like I mentioned earlier in this video. I came into it not really expecting to like it as much as I did, and I'll admit that I definitely did like it. Now, the question is, will I be getting it, and do I recommend it? Like I said, I didn't really expect to like the game, but I do, and it's fun to play. I will admit though, it kind of got repetitive after a short amount of time for me. It was still fun, but it was kind of like doing the same thing over and over again. But that was, if I'm not mistaken, the first open beta, where they didn't have like all 4 of the modes. So that didn't become too much of an issue in the second one, and that won't be an issue in the game itself. But it is kind of bit more of the same thing when you look at it from a gameplay standpoint. So it's all about what you really want in the game. If you have a group of friends, I think this is a perfect game for you all to pick up, because it's a team game, especially if you can have that communication with other people. You know what roles you want to play and stuff like that, what mode you want to play, whatever. I feel like it would be a lot of fun to play with friends. So do I recommend Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker based off of the open beta? Honestly, yeah, I do. Will I be getting Shinobi Striker? Well,
I'm broke as shit.
So no, not at the moment. But I'll probably keep my eye out for it. Might pick it up at some point, and I'm also interested to see what they're going to do with the story mode, because if I'm not mistaken, there's supposed to be a story mode for this game. So it'd be interesting to see how they implement the gameplay that we've seen from the betas in the multiplayer put into a story mode, and how that story mode will either integrate your character or how it'll go across the Naruto universe. So there you have it. JaangoPops' official Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker open beta discussion, review, first impressions, whatever you like to call it. Tell me in the comments below what you guys thought of the beta, if you played it, if you saw it played by someone, whatever it was. Tell me how you're feeling about Naruto, because my feelings about the game's changed, so I actually want to know what other people were thinking before the beta, after the beta, how they're feeling now, stuff like that. So yeah, and if you enjoyed the video, tell me in the comments below. Might make more like this, more just discussion type videos, but without further ado, I'm JaangoPops. This has been my Shinobi Striker open beta review. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!